I consider this scenario by using the FLSM technique and the static routing protocol. In this scenario, I taken the three networks, sub-networks. The network N1 is required the 28 host, and the N2 is a network which require 8 hosts, and N3 is a network which require the 4 hosts. Now this scenario is by using the FLSM technique. In your FLSM technique, the network which has a maximum number of the host requirement, we take that network subnet mask as the entire other networks the same subnet mask. So here the 28 host requirement are there. So because of the 28 host, we require the 5 host bits, means 2 raised to power 32 will satisfy your condition of the 28. Now your subnet mask, which is the maximum host required among all the hosts, that is 28, 28, and 8, 4, and 4, and 4. So your maximum host requirement here is of the 28 hosts. So we take the subnet mask of this host as the entire in the entire network. So the subnet mask of this is 224 because of the 5 host bits. So your first IP is a start with the 0 and at the 31 because 2 raised to power 5 means 32, so you are using 0 and the 31. So here is your host requirement is a 8, means it satisfies 2 raised to power 4, that is a 16, and your CIDR number is 32 minus 4 is 28. So your subnet mask into this network is the same which has a maximum host requirement, so 2 to 4. Now your first IP is a 32, means next 32 IPs, because we are using the FLSM technique now, means they are doing the same subnetting among all the networks. So if your first IP is a 32, so add the 32 in 32, that is a 64, so your last IP is a 63. Now go into the 4. Now 4, the host requirement, so your host bit is the 3 and your CIDR number is 28, so same subnet mask because it is the FLSM technique, so 2 to 4. Now your first IP is a 64, we are taking the next 32 IPs, so next 32 IPs means the 96, we are using already 64, so your last IP is the 95. We do the same process among all the entire network, so same subnet mask 224, and here is also the same subnet mask, that is the 224. Okay, now come your Cisco packet tracer, drag the routers. Use the automatically choose connection type cable. Now turn on the add the serial interface card into the routers. Now choose the serial DCE cable. Okay. Now we do the configuration of the network. So go into the router 0. That network, which is the network which require the how many hosts? 28 hosts. Okay, 28 hosts are there, and this one is your network 1. Hmm. Now this one is a network which require the how many host? 8 host, and that is the network N2. Okay. This one is a network which requires the 4 hosts, and then this one is the network N3. This one is your network N4, and this one is your network N5, which requires the 4 host. Now come to your router 0. Now see, router 0 is connected to the 3 ports, that is 2 are the serial ports and 1 port is the fast Ethernet port. So do the configuration of this. Go your CLI interface mode. Enable interface fast Ethernet 0.0. Okay, now give the IP to it, that is 10.11.48.1, your first useful IP. And the subnet mask of this network is 255.224. You can check in your routing table, that is the 224. Okay, 28 is your host requirement, 5 is your host bit, your CIDR number is 27, your subnet mask is 224, your first IP is 48.0, and your last IP is the 48.31 for the network of the 28 host. So after giving it, shut down. Now your router 0 is connected to the 2 serial ports. So do the configuration of the serial ports. Int serial, that is 0/0/0. Provide an IP address, that is the different network. So choose any IP among the routing tables. So here is your 4 host IPs. So take any one of the network. I am taking first this. 96 is the first IP and 127 is the last IP. So I given 19, sorry, 11.48.97. 97 is your first useful IP and the subnet mask is 255.255.224. We are taking the same subnet because we are using the FLSM technique. Now come to the second serial port. The second serial port is your 001. Okay. Now IP address, that is a different network. So it starts from the 128 starting IP and last IP is 159. So change here the IP, that is I taking the first useful IP 129, enter, no, shut down. Okay. Now all work is done. From the router 0 come to the router 1, that is connected to 2 ports, which is one is the serial port and one is the fast Ethernet port. Now enable router this terminal, your interface serial port, that is 0/0/0. Provide IP address to there. Now give the second useful IP of this network. Now I use the first useful IP is 97 to at router 0. Now use 98 at the router 1. 98 at the router 1 for the serial port. Same subnet mask everywhere. 2 to 4. Now shut down. Now your interface fast Ethernet port 0/0. So this one is your second network. So use IP address here. That is the second network, means your this network 8 host bits. 8 host bits, starting IP is 32 and last IP is the 63. So use 33 first useful IP of it. So IP address, that command is incomplete. 11.48.33, 255, 255 and 224. Now shut down. Okay. So come here router 2 and into the CLI interface mode. Now enable the router from this terminal. Again after configuring the terminal, give the command serial interface 0/0/0. Now IP address. Now I used here to the serial port. I use the 129, the first useful IP. So I use 130 here. So 10.11.48.130. Okay. Then subnet mask the same IP there to the port. And my command is to share move it down. Now I give the IP to the fast Ethernet port, that is 0 by 0, which is your third subnetwork. So third subnetwork starting IP is the third subnetwork starting IP is a 64 and your third subnetwork. So this one is a 4. So your starting IP is a 64 and your last IP is the 95. So I take the first useful IP, that is the 65. So IP address 10.11.48.65 and subnet mask 24 and then radar. Now we provide the serial port and the fast Ethernet port IP addresses. Now come to the PCs and start providing the IP addresses to the PC. So, default gateway is your fast Ethernet IP address. This one is a network 2. So starting IP of this network is a 32. I use first a useful IP 33 to the fast Ethernet port. Now the 34. 33 is your fast Ethernet IP that acts as the default gateway now. Now the 35. Into this network here is starting IP is a 64. I use 65 at the fast Ethernet port. Now the 66 and 65, so which I given to the fast Ethernet port. Now your default gateway. So 67 now. 65. Then now check within the sub network everything is working correctly or not. Okay, everything is good. Now do the static routing of it. So go to your router 0. Router 0 is connected to the router 2 and the router 1. So set IP root of it. So give IP root for moving into this network which is connected to the router 1. So give his network identification IP, and his network identification IP is 10.11.48.32. Your first IP address of the network is a network identification IP. Now give his subnet mask 255, 255, 255 and 224. Now give the next hop address. So moving from the router 0 to the router 1, your next hop is a 0/0/0. So provide this network IP address. So this network IP address is 98, I think. So you can check here, go to the config mode, and so 98 is the this network IP. So 10.11 Fine 48.98. Now give the second IP route from the router 0 to the router 1, sorry, router 2. So that network starting network identification IP is the 64. Okay, that is a third subnetwork. So your next hope is this time is changed. Your next hope is this serial port. So this serial port has the IP address is 130. Okay, so change it here. Actually, I have to completely get that. IP route 10.11.64. Now go to router 1. Now set IP route of this network. So exit from the interface mode first, come to the config mode, set IP route for moving that network. So 10.11.40, 8.0 subnet IP. Now the serial port, from moving from the router 1 to the router 0, the serial now your next hop is this serial port. So give the IP address of the serial port. This serial port has a IP is 97. You can check it. 97. Enter reset IP route of this network. So come to a router 2. Provide exit from the interface mode first. So set the IP route of 10.11.48.0 subnet IP has. Now your next hope is this time is this serial port interface card. So this serial port has a IP is 129. So 10.11.48.129. Now check the static routing into the FLSM technique is working correctly or not. Okay, showing successful from the PC 2 to the PC1. So PC3 to the PC4, check it. So it's also the successful. So it's showing here is the fail. So I have to set the more IP route. Okay, at the router 1 I set only the one IP route. Now I have to set the IP route for moving this network to this network. So use the same command. So that network is the starting IP is the 64. His network identification IP is the 64. Okay, same next hop from the router to the router 1. The network identification IP of that network is the starting is the 32. Okay. So now check it. Okay, now it's successful. Then using the FLSM technique,